Okay, so now when talk about photosystem actually, they are a cluster. Always remember they are clusters. A cluster of what? A cluster of a mixed group of photosynthetic pigment. Okay, you try to imagine that. Okay, each pigment only in charge for a particular wavelength. But our wavelength, visible light, start from 400 all the way to 700. If you only use one, it's very wasteful. Are you clear? You try to imagine all of you. I only take one to go, right, to do something. Okay, it's not enough. I take everyone. So that each of them will in charge. So we form a cluster like this. So about hundreds, okay, of these photosynthetic pigment will do the things together, follow one leader. So this leader is known as the reaction center. Okay, so what they do? In this case, photosystem, they are functional units and the structural units of protein complexes. So they are protein complexes involved in the photosynthesis. So what they do, they basically absorb the light energy and transfer the energy and electrons. So this part we have to be careful. You have to be careful, guys. The transfer, in this case, a transfer, when you write, you either write say transfer energy full stop or energy and electron. You cannot say transfer electron full stop because this electron is a high energy. Are you clear? It's not a normal electron they transfer, but this electron have high energy. So what actually happened here is, try to imagine, this is one photosystem. We have one leader. Okay? So this leader involved in the photo excitation. Means that involved in the communication. The rest of you guys no need to do communication. What you guys need to do? Pass the message to this leader. Can I see that? Are you clear? So it means that we do have a center, what I call a reaction center. This reaction center will in charge to collect all these high energy electrons from the surrounded pigments. Okay? So for example, okay, the photons means the photons, the light energy come in with the 500 nanometer. Leader said, I cannot accept this because it's not my job. So someone will accept it. So someone absorb it already, pass this to the leader, or this leader is known as the reaction center. It's a whole class, okay? So photosystems are found in the thylakoid membrane. As I say that, so we learned about these thylakoid membranes of the chloroplast. And however, photosystems are located in the cytoplasmic membrane of photosynthetic bacteria. Highlight number 4. Because for bacteria, they do not have chloroplast. Always remember, cyanobacteria is the one that can carry out photosynthesis, but they do not have chloroplast. Chloroplast is only for eukaryotic cells. So means that where it's located as cytoplasmic membranes or the photosynthetic bacteria. This question always will come out in your ES. Are you clear? Compare between prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell. So students always think that photosynthetic bacterial cells have chloroplast, which is wrong. Okay? So there are two kinds of photosystems. Don't worry about this. We have photosystem 1, or in short form, we call PS1, and photosystem 2, PS2. Okay? At the heart of the photosystem, we have this leader known as the reaction center. So this reaction center is surrounded by light harvesting complexes that enhance the absorption of light. Are you clear? If the entire thing only depends on leader to do it, this reaction center is not effective. They have to depend on the others. Okay? So these light harvesting complexes include the photosynthetic pigments such as chlorophylls and carotenoids. So look at the diagram here. Okay? So this is what I said, that the thylakoid membrane. On the thylakoid membrane, you have the cluster like this. So this cluster is known as the photosystem. Okay? So who is the leader? The leader can be the reaction center. So when they are reaction center, we term them as P680 or P700. P680 and P700. So what is this mean? Not all photosynthetic pigment can be reaction center. Are you clear? Not all photosynthetic pigments can be reaction center. Okay. Who can be reaction center? Only chlorophyll A. Are you clear? It's something like not all can be the king. Only come from royal family can be the king. Are you clear? So who can be the reaction center? It must be chlorophyll A. Right now, it must be a chlorophyll A, but not all chlorophyll A. Only chlorophyll A have a peak absorbance at 680 nanometer or 700 nanometer. So means that if I am the chlorophyll A, but I'm in charge for 650, can I be the reaction center? Cannot. If I'm in charge for 650, I cannot be the reaction center. The only two kinds of the chlorophyll A that can be the reaction center, they are the one that in charge, what we call the peak absorbent, means that they absorb in the high. I mean, their absorption is the maximum, is the best at 680 nanometer or 700 nanometer. They can be the reaction center. Are you clear? Okay. But the thing here is, reaction center only in charge for 680 and 700. But our wavelength, actually, light wavelength, 400 to 700. How about the rest? Nobody absorb it. Cannot, right? Wasteful. Cannot. Are you clear? So means that we do have the rest of the pigment. For example, you have the other chlorophyll. Let's say, for example, chlorophyll B or other kind of chlorophyll A. For example, just now I said that I in charge 650, I can't be the reaction center, but I still can absorb the light intensity at 600 or light energy at 650. But can I be the reaction center? Cannot. My role as an accessory pigment. So we have the primary pigment. Primary pigment form the reaction center. The rest, they are accessory pigment. Are you clear? They are accessory pigment. So what they do? They receive the photon, pass the photon to who? To the reaction center, so that photo excitations can take place. Okay, don't worry about this photo excitations, but generally, can I say 500? Oh, cannot say, 500 belongs to me. I absorb. And send to who? Pass this energy to the reaction center. So when the reaction center gathers sufficient energy, they communicate. Are you clear? They carry out this photo excitations of electron. Clear or not? So we have two kinds of photosystem based on what? Based on the types of the reaction center. If we zoom in the reaction center, if the reaction center is P680, means that in charge for 680, this photosystem we label it as a photosystem 2. Are you clear? If 680, we name it as photosystem 2. But if 700, photosystem 1. Are you clear? So I recap again. All these photosynthetic pigments, they will form a cluster. So this cluster actually known as photosystem. So within this cluster, you only have one primary pigment, which acts as a reaction center. Who can be a reaction center? It must be chlorophyll A, but not all chlorophyll A. Only chlorophyll A that have the peak absorbance, PEAK, right? The peak absorbance means that maximum absorbance when the light intensity at 680 nanometer or 700 nanometer. If I 680, I can be a reaction center. If I'm 650, sorry, I have no chance. Are you clear? So entire photosystem only have one reaction center or primary pigment. Now, how about the rest? The rest will be the accessory pigment. So this accessory pigment can be chlorophyll A, but not in charge 680 or 700. It can be chlorophyll B, it can be xanthophyll, it can be carotenoid, it can be any other kind of pigment. What is the role of the primary pigment? Primary pigments actually gather sufficient energy. It carry out what we call the photo excitations of the electron. And this photo excitation electron is very important. It's a key process for the photosynthesis to take place. So the rest, can they carry out the photo excitation? No, the rest of them, they cannot carry out photo excitation. What they do, the accessory pigment, they absorb the light density, the light energy, and pass this energy to the reaction center. Either you say pass the energy or pass the energy and electrons. Are you clear? But you cannot say pass the electron. Okay? Because this electron have high energy. So normally we say pass the energy, full stop now. Okay? Because electron is just a carrier of energy. Put it this way. Are you clear? Okay. So let's compare between photosystem 1 and photosystem 2. As I say that, we won't be able to answer all of these because we haven't done the photosynthesis in detail yet. Okay, so just accept the answer, and then when we finish the photosystem 1 and photosystem 2 in detail, then we come back to this, you'll be able to understand it. Okay, so first of all, reaction center for photosystem 1. So P700. Okay, pigment 700. Okay, or I call it P700. Okay. And then how about photosystem 2? P680. So what is the peak absorption of light wave? So P700 in charge for 700 nanometer. Photosystem 2 in charge for 680 nanometer. So type of phosphorylations. Just now we said that cyclic and non-cyclic, right or not? Okay, so photosystem 1 involved in both cyclic and non-cyclic. At this moment, accept it first. Are you clear? Okay. The next lessons, we're going to look at this in detail. Okay. How about photosystem 2? Photosystem 2 only involved in non-cyclic. Only involved in non-cyclic. Okay. But photosystem 1 involved both cyclic and non-cyclic. So type of products form. So still remember, we are ATP and also reduced NADP, cannot, and O2, cannot, products. Still remember? Okay. So type of product form, photosystem 1 will give ATP during cyclic photophosphorylations and reduce NADP during the non-cyclic photophosphorylation. Okay. Don't worry about this. But photosystem 2 will only give ATP. Okay. So this thing again, you only will understand it in the next lessons. Okay, just accept it. So photolysis of water molecule, photosystem 1, no, not associated with the photolysis of water. Photosystem 2, yes, associated with photolysis of water molecule. Okay, so with this, I've done for the photosystem. Okay, so the next part we're going to look at this will be the pigment.